The US Department of Justice has issued a statement alleging a plot from India to murder a US-based Sikh separatist leader. In a statement, the US Attorney's Office announced that the filing of murder for hire charges against Indian national Nikhil Gupta in connection with his participation in a foiled plot to assassinate a US citizen in New York City. Czech authorities arrested and detained Gupta on June 30th this year, pursuant to the bilateral extradition treaty between the United States and the Czech Republic. These are, of course, words coming out from the US Attorney's Office. Earlier today, the Ministry of External Affairs, responding to earlier reports linked to these developments, said that they have already said that during the course of discussions with the US on bilateral security cooperation, the US side shared some inputs pertaining to nexus between organized criminals, gun runners, terrorists and others. The MEA also said that they had indicated that India takes such inputs seriously since they impinge on our national security interests as well, and relevant departments were already examining the issue. The earlier reports that the MEA was responding to alleged that the Sikh separatist Gurpatwant Singh Pannu, a dual citizen of the United States and Canada, was the target of a foiled plot. For more on this, I'm joined by my colleague Vishnu Shom. Vishnu, this is a very significant indictment. Explain to our viewers the importance of this.
Well, not just the U.S. Attorney in the state of New York, but also the U.S. Justice Department coming out both with separate press releases alleging an Indian involvement in a plot to murder an American national. This is believed to be Gurpatwant Singh Pannu. He is, of course, a Sikh separatist. He's a Khalistani leader. But the fact that the U.S. has actually come out with these very strong charges accusing an Indian national named Nikhil of being, involved in this murder plot at the behest of somebody working for the government of India, it marks a very serious sort of development as far as this case is concerned. That Indian national who was allegedly working at the behest of an element of the government of India has been arrested at this stage in the Czech Republic. The Czech Republic has an agreement with the United States and an extradition agreement. We don't know at this stage whether he will be extradited or not, but the U.S. Department of Justice has spelled out what the alleged plot actually is. The government of India is very closely looking at all of these developments. They've been aware of some of these allegations before. And prior to the release of these documents from this press release from the U.S. Attorney's Office and from the Justice Department's office, they had issued a statement, and you've read out that statement. Essentially, the government of India looking very closely at the situation. It does impinge on India's national security as well, and various inputs which have been outlined, not just today, but certainly in the last couple of days, is something that the government of India is looking at very, very closely indeed. India, of course, is very concerned about the existence of Sikh extremism, the Khalistani movement and their leaders and their supporters in Canada, the United Kingdom and certainly in the United States. We've seen attacks on Indian missions. We've seen the Indian High Commissioner in Ottawa being targeted in posters. We've seen the Indian consulate in San Francisco being defaced. So it's all a part of that. Earlier on, there were allegations made by the Canadian Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, where he said that India was part of a plot to eliminate the same person, Mr. Pannu. Now, Pannu is a Canadian national, has dual citizenship with the United States. The U.S. now alleges that there was a separate plot in the United States as well. And apparently, the U.S. has at various levels informed India of this plot. The plot, the U.S. says, has been foiled. So it's a legal matter now in the United States. There is unlikely to be any further Indian statement either tonight or tomorrow, but it's obviously something that we'll be keeping a close eye on.
Right, Vishnu, if I may ask you one more question, how does this affect the existing diplomatic row between India and Canada over Khalistani extremist Nijjar's killing? Because we have seen so many statements going back and forth on this entire issue. So this, of course, is going to have some sort of an impact on that as well.
Well, whether Canada chooses to rely on the developments in the U.S. to issue some sort of statement or use it as some sort of an argument to make a corroborative, to sort of link what the developments in Canada and the developments in the United States is something that we'll have to watch out for. But yes, this is now a fairly large row. On the one hand, the government of India faces the threat of Sikh extremism, the Khalistani supporters, and this movement in several parts of the world. However, there are very strong allegations, both in Canada at the level of their Prime Minister, and now in the United States at the level of their Justice Department, alleging an Indian plot to murder an American national. In this case, it is Pannon, the Sikh, the Khalistani leader, on their soil. So that's what the development is presently. We'll have to see how this plays out, but this is a very serious diplomatic incident. It's a legal incident, and it's something that's going to be played out certainly over the next several days, if not weeks.
Right.